What's up, guys? My name is Julian, your solar expert, and today I have brought in one of my contracting partners, Chase, the owner of Alltech Solar. I've been working with Chase for almost like 4 years now, and
probably longer than that, dating back to
if you add, probably installing my jobs for over 5 years now here in San Diego. So what we're going to be answering today is obviously I have thousands of people watching my YouTube channel, on a monthly basis, and I have a lot of people that are kind of in the mindset of, DIYing, doing these jobs themselves. And there's a lot of equipment online that, if you just, in a very simplistic way, kind of just add up some costs, and then you look at, that cost versus, what a, professional solar company using tier 1 reputable equipment, is going to be using. You're looking at it like, why is there such a drastic price difference? And I get hit with this question almost every day or every other day. Someone calls me and they're interested in, like the EG4 system, the EcoFlow Delta, Ultra, off Signature Solar. And so, not being an electrician myself, I wanted to bring in an actual electrician to kind of give their perspective on, working with the supply chains and the manufacturers directly, warranty claims. There's so much more involved than just here's the price of the battery or whatever. So with that being said, I wanted to open up this conversation and have you explain kind of why we don't just go and install the cheapest stuff. Because, obviously right now we're looking for
everyone's trying to cut prices and save money, and
interest
totally
rates.
Understandable.
Yeah, so that's our goal, is to bring a product that is actually going to work to you for the least expensive price as possible. So with that being said, why are we not just saying, hey, let's just install these EcoFlows and EG4s and save these people a few grand? Like, why is that not worth it?
I mean, it's definitely a hard question to answer, but I think first and foremost, like, before you even brought this topic to me, I had never heard of EcoFlow. I had never heard of EG4. And there's probably a reason behind that too, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for me as a contractor, you too as a salesman, like, we are putting our name on something and we want the customer to have the best experience possible. Like, we're not just selling, hey, this is the cheapest thing to get this end goal. We want you to have a system that is going to provide what we're saying it's going to provide for the length of time it's going to provide it, right? We want you to have a good experience, like, especially when it comes to batteries. We want it to be able to save money. We want it to be able to provide that outage power, right? We want them to have a good experience. And if a system dies 5 years from now and that company is out of business, what was the point? Okay, you saved money on the front end, but now 5 years later you have to replace all the components?
See, like, one of my thought processes is like that gets me thinking about like how SolarEdge has had so many failures, right? Well, imagine if SolarEdge was, like, this is what I think, right? Like, imagine if SolarEdge wasn't some large publicly traded company. Like, imagine if they were just some small company that went, and now they have tens of thousands of dead inverters, and now there is no way to warranty.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
You're buying a new product completely and hoping that someone's going to come swap it and it's going to be compatible and it's actually going to work, with what you have. And
so I think the first step for us is we work with a reputable distributor, CED Green Tech here in San Diego. They're the largest here in San Diego. They're the largest nationwide. And so I have to rely on them doing their job first and foremost. So they're going to be vetting all of these manufacturers. Like, I spoke 8 years back. I was doing projects for another contractor. We were installing a 48 volt system, Simplify batteries, and I went up to my outside sales rep at CED and I said, hey, you should bring in Simplify. And he looked at me and he's like, I haven't seen their balance sheet. And I was like, first I was like, what does that mean? Why does that matter?
What's accounting?
And then it clicked for me. I'm like, wow, it really doesn't matter, like, that I had a great experience installing the product. Like, this EcoFlow, this EG4, maybe it's a just fine product, and maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll do what it says it does, right? Maybe it's a great price. All those things are great, but at the end of the day, like, as a distributor, they're looking at the longevity of this product being out there manufacturing warranty claims, because this is for the long haul.
And why? And like, okay, so, and I don't know the answer to this question. This isn't me like setting you up to give some answer I already know. But like, why is it important to even care if the distributor? I mean, we buy the equipment through them. They deliver it to the house, and then are they really involved at all if like a warranty claim is involved or anything?
Sure.
Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah. I would say, because they're in talks with the manufacturer, and they have resources that I don't even have as an installer. Like, I can talk to tech support, but if I need to supersede that in any way, if I need to, maybe there's a product on the shelf that they can supply with me quicker than waiting. You brought up SolarEdge. If SolarEdge is having issues and I've got an inverter down, battery down, whatever it is, and it's taking weeks, months, whatever to get that taken care of, I can supersede that by going to my distributor, getting a product off the shelf, and getting that customer taken care of. And then on the back end, I can figure it out between distributor, manufacturer, and that's separate from the customer. The customer doesn't have to know about any of that. They don't care about any of that. They just want to be taken care of. And so if the product isn't available, isn't around, then what am I going to do? Then it's completely different. I have to then go source a new product. And then there's cost involved. Like if the company's around, there's a warranty claim process. Mm-hmm. But if they're not around, then it's money out of pocket for that customer. They're all of a sudden having a bad experience, basically blaming me or you because we've sold and installed something.
It's already happened.
They're like, why did you sell this to me? Why did you install this? This is a crap product. It didn't last like you said it was. So it's we want to set ourselves up as the contractor, as the seller, for the purchaser to have the best experience over the length of
companies like SolarEdge's string of failures has been, in my opinion, the reason why a lot of bad reviews for like individual contractors even exist, because like you said, it's like the contractor's just waiting for their replacement. So like if it's just signaturesolar.com, and it's not like a real human being in a real building.
And who are they? Like I don't know Signature either. Like they're just an online retailer. They're marking up a product. They don't care. They're not vetting it probably.
Right.
Like, so if I buy this EcoFlow from them and then go install it and there's an issue, what do? I contact this online retailer and hope for assistance, hope for.
Well, right. Like, so my question is, or like what I tell a lot of people is, like, do you realize how much time the contractors and installers actually spend with like the manufacturer support? Mm-hmm. Whether they're just commissioning the system initially or going back for a warranty claim. Like there's always, and there's even memes that are out there like within solar installer groups about like waiting 8 hours to finally get the guy on the phone to get some 10-minute job done. You waited 8 hours to do something for 10 minutes
for a firmware update.
And exactly. And so like I tell people, like even the very best equipment on the market right now with the best multi-billion-dollar market cap companies coming out with this technology, and they still have problems. Like we're still kind of on the bell curve as far as like the technology improving, and it's still improving and getting better every year. It's not like maybe solar panels we've kind of figured out, but like the batteries and the inverters and the controllers and how everything communicates, like that stuff's all being kind of still refined. And so if SolarEdge or Enphase or Tesla still is having a lot of noticeable problems, I can't imagine EG4 or EcoFlow, like some tiny little company, and so like if your goal is to DIY it and try to save yourself $6 or $7 grand right off the top, then by all means, like do it. Just understand that it's not just some magical markup that like it exists for no reason with some of these higher end products. There's a reason why everything at the end of the day is going to cost a little bit more.
With any DIYer, they're going to be trying to, skirt costs. They're that's understandable. I do it myself, at my own home. I'm doing my own construction projects. Obviously, I'm licensed to do so anyways, and I have some background knowledge. But like, I'm trying to save cost on things that I don't necessarily want to spend money on. So I get it. You know, if somebody is a tinkerer, or maybe they're an engineer or something like that, they've got a background where they want to do their own system, and they see this system and it's cheaper, and they think they can do it, and it's plug and play, whatever it is, that's fine. But in my opinion, we're selling something for peace of mind for the long haul. So we just want that. We want that backing, whether it's through the distributor or through the manufacturer. That you know, there's a confidence there that I don't see with these other products. I don't see it with Signature. I just don't. I don't know who they are. I don't believe in them. And there's other products that the distributor has brought in, and I didn't know about them before. But that's the first step. They vet them. They bring them in, and then you mentioned before, the distributor is providing assistance. They're providing training. We go to sales trainings. We go to install trainings at the distributor. Where Signature is an online retailer. I don't get that. So they sell these products, but if I want to be a certified installer, if I want to, you know, have any sort of like personal relationship with that manufacturer, it's all online based. It's all whatever. Maybe they have tech support, but it's not like what I get with Enphase and Tesla and Franklin and all of the top manufacturers right now. They're there. I have means to access, you know, all of those, and so it's
you have like real human beings that are like in the trenches that really are in communication.
But there's also a process, right? Like the distributor vets it. I go in for certification training. Like I can go buy this online and just throw it in somebody's house and just like voila, it's done. Like there's no certification training. I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. But the support after the fact, the warranties, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's something that I can rely on and build our brand. And
well, because a lot of solar companies too, over the years, they've been nickel and dime to death by service calls. And
because that's not something that's traditionally like we're selling cash purchases. You know, we're not installing third-party ownership. So like that's usually included in the O&M in that, but like we're selling something that the customer is purchasing. So in that agreement, like we're contracted to install it, and like we have a workmanship warranty. And obviously if something happens with their roof or their system that we did wrong, like we'll go out in there and service it. But a part of that original agreement is not an O&M operation and maintenance agreement. So if something goes wrong, I either have to eat it or I have to tell the customer, hey, I'm going to charge you this to come out and service it for some reason or another. Obviously, there's also manufacturer warranties that maybe I can claim reimbursement as far as labor is concerned. So I maybe don't have to charge the customer, but I'm also not obligated to go out there and service these customers. Bigger companies here in San Diego, I hear all the time, hey, you know, I tried contacting them, but they say that they're no longer aligned with whatever SunPower or SolarEdge or whatever, and they're like, they won't touch my system.
Yeah, that's super common.
And so they call me, and then I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to leave you hanging, so I'll help you out. And
I think Baker. I mean, not to point, but like I think it's
I didn't want to point the finger either.
It's funny because like they were SunPower dealers, and then they said, we're not going to work with SunPower. We're going to work with just SolarEdge and LG. And then LG went out of business, or they stopped making solar panels. And then, you know, they got hit on. You know, the market hit them a lot for not having microinverters. And then they said, all right, well, we'll do microinverters. And it's like they spent all this time bouncing to finally just end where like the real professionals knew the entire time, like the where, you know, the highest quality products were and what they should have been installing all along. So, and then like you said, they have a problem, and SunPower doesn't even let them come out and work on it anymore because they're not aligned. So it's a nightmare.
But also I think one more piece of this puzzle is like I want our systems to look good. Right? Like, I mean, you've seen our work. I mean, our work's out there, you know, online. You can look at pictures and stuff. But I mean, I want the customer to be really proud of their system, whether it's just the panels, our electrical work, battery work, and looking at some of this stuff, it's like it's on like cheap rolling casters. It's like you've got long extension cord type of things that plug into the inverter. It just looks cheap to me. It looks
the EcoFlow wheels, it looks like little like suitcase wheels.
It looks like the wheels on this chair.
Yeah.
It's like to me, it's cheap. So like, yeah, you're paying less money, but you're getting a cheap product. Like that's, at the end of the day, it's a cheap product, and like it doesn't look good to me.
So let's talk about the money a little bit. Okay. So like maybe what are some, hidden costs? Like as a contractor, obviously, like you price out and you manage every little ordering of every little material and everything. So like what are a lot of these little hidden costs that it may not even be costs? I mean, like when you guys pull up to the job, with your 2 or 3 trucks, you got, I would assume, thousands of dollars worth of tools that you need to even install these systems.
Sure.
So like if you're a DIYer and you're just looking at these and you're like, hey, I can add everything up for 18 grand and labor should be 8 grand, and you're 50, like where are some of these costs that maybe someone looking at it isn't thinking about or realizing that they're going to have to take on?
I mean, I think first is like, we are a business, so like we are going to profit on whatever we're installing. So like that is one key part of it. I mean, as a DIYer, you're trying to basically remove that.
Right.
That's the first thing you're trying to remove, is somebody profiting off you, like doing the job for you. So that's
the whole idea that someone needs to do a job and not profit is silly. Like if you truly believe that we don't need profit, like you literally have no concept of how anything works in the economy.
Yeah, nobody's just gonna give it away. You can see a price online or whatever for any product, right? But I'm not going to give it to you for that price. Like that's just not how the economy works. It's simple. And then we're skilled labor, so we are expensive per individual, but also we have liability insurance, we have workman's comp, we have benefits, we have trucks, we've got tools, we've got all of these things that do cost money and upkeep, and it's expensive. So
I think in California,
business.
I think it's like $22 for every like $100 or something that you have to pay for like workman's comp in California. Like there's, I don't know the exact figure, but it's crazy expensive.
Yeah,
to have
we have a calculation that, so like we call it fully burdened. So if an employee makes $25 an hour, like that's not how much they cost for us.
It's way more than that.
So usually that $25 person is actually like $65, $70 because of all of the things that we have to account for that person working for 1 hour. And we have the highest hits because our classifications are electrician, roofing, the most dangerous ones. So we have to charge the most for our labor because of all of those hits. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely things that make everything that we do expensive, and so a DIYer is going to look at all that and see the opportunity to shave cost, which I totally understand. But if you want to rely on something that's just not built to last, it's not a reputable brand, it's not been through the vetting process, that's totally up to you, right? I mean, I'm not going to do it. We're not going to sell it. It just doesn't make sense. But like, you've been to our job sites, you've seen the work that it takes to do a true backup system. You've seen the wiring. You have, like, we don't just go there and like, I think more of these are built and designed for the DIYer.
They are. They're sold as like, I mean, there's even a YouTuber, Will Prouse, who's like the #1 solar DIY YouTuber, and like his job is literally like, he sells you so well on like how easy everything looks to do, because he's like a pro, he's like a genius kid. He knows exactly how to do everything and wire everything up. But like, he's selling you on how easy it is.
Yeah, I'm sure if I bought a DIY thing and made a video and be like, oh, it's just so easy. Like, I mean, I'm sure I could, I know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
But like, if you're doing a true backup system, like, it's like with the manufacturers that we work with, it's not so simple as just like running an extension cord, which like some of these pictures I've seen of some of these installs, that's literally what I see is like just long extension cords, like plugging into an inverter. It's like it looks cheap, it looks silly, and it's not what we do. We have, I mean, there's code and there's just rules that we have to follow and things that we implement to make things look good. It's professionally installed. It's just it's not even comparing apples to apples. So it's really difficult to get a DIYer to see that cost is justifiable, but at the end of the day, like they're looking at one thing and we're looking at something completely different. I think if we wanted to compare something similar, these are low voltage DC coupled battery systems. So I'm going to go to my distributor and I'm going to see Fortress Power, I'm going to see Simplify, and those are brands now that I know, that I've been trained on. I know that the distributor is vetting those products. They're going to be around. So I feel more comfortable with those. So it's like, if you want something in that same realm, like go with a product like that. Like, yeah, maybe you don't have to, and those are going to be a little bit cheaper on like a per kilowatt hour basis. They're just, it's a different product than an Enphase battery system where you've got these AC coupled components and you've got microinverters on the roof. Like there's things that add cost in terms of like the actual materials. Another
thing too that I always kind of like try to get people to think about is the opportunity cost of doing it yourself. If you're like a retired engineer and this is something that you're doing to like fill your day, and this is like a project that you want to take on, like this may not speak to you as much, but yeah, like if you're a working professional, have you really thought about how many hours this is going to take? And basically, because I always think about that, like time is money in terms of working, right? So like if I'm not doing something that's gonna help me make money work-wise, like I'm wasting my time. And so like if it's gonna, maybe the professional crew of 5 guys comes out and it takes them 2 days, but like what is it gonna take you? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Well, how much money could you have made at your job during that time that you had to put aside to go save, a few grand over here? Like, you could end up not even saving that much money at all, and you're left with a subpar product in comparison.
Right. Well, you do it yourself and you're not even sure if maybe it works, but whereas you hire us and you know it's going to work.
Well, which is crazy because even the professional installers, it's not like half the systems don't work or anything, but there's still like a small percentage.
There's things that happen.
You got to go back and you got to tweak this wire, this setting wasn't right, or we got to move, I don't know, like whatever it is. Like there's a lot of little things that you go back and you fix later. So
I have a funny story. Okay, so about 5 years ago, this guy bought a solar kit online, just like this kind of thing. I want to say it was like Samsung panels or something like that. It was like some,
which don't exist anymore.
Right, it's like some off-brand, right? That doesn't really matter. But so we got called out because he quit. He quit on his own install, okay? So this was the craziest setup I had ever seen on a roof, okay? This guy, he had like 3 different like steps to his roof. It wasn't super steep or anything, tile roof, but he had like zip lines everywhere, and he had a harness, and he had like, he was taking like, he did not want to fall off that roof, which I get, but it was like, most of the time that he spent was setting up this whole zip line contraption so that he didn't fall off. How far he got into that install was sad. I think he only installed like 2 mounts, 1 rail, and then was just like, I'm not doing it. And I spoke to the wife once we were like out on site, and she was like, yeah, he had been at it for weeks, and that's all he got done. So it's like, and that's one thing. Obviously, like the roof getting up there, that's a little bit maybe more dangerous in some people's eyes than being down on the ground, rolling some batteries in, plugging in some wires or whatever they think it is. But I would say most DIY people that I speak to, or like people that own rental properties, like they're like, oh yeah, I'm willing to fix plumbing issues, I'm willing to do some carpentry work, but whenever it comes to electricity, I never do it. That I would say more often than not, 99+% of people that I talk to, electricity is the one trade that they do not touch.
I don't know why you'd want to.
So it's like, just leave it to the professionals. let us come in, do the project correctly. Let us use the products we know are going to work, know we're going to be around the longest, and support you for the rest of the lifespan.
Yeah, screw up you know, a poorly built deck in your backyard.
Yeah.
Don't screw up, you know, the wiring in your electrical panel.
Yeah. Build a,
you know?
Build a chair, but like don't build a backup system for your house. Like,
I even get calls all the time from literally licensed electricians that are just they're not in solar. They're, you know, just general electricians.
Yeah.
And they thought they underestimated the solar job. They said, "Oh, I'm an electrician. I'm licensed. I'll do this. This is what I do for a living." And they've never done it before. And it's not a lack of being intelligent. It's just like it's their first rodeo. Yeah. You know, it's the first time you've been through a process, and it's kind of like when you know, it's like building the IKEA furniture. It's like on the sheet says it should take 30 minutes, but then you get in there and you're like, wait.
Yeah.
Like it ends up taking 2.5 hours to, you know, build what could have been 30 minutes if you just knew the process. You know,
I wonder these DIY guys. I wonder how many times they have to go to Home Depot. I wonder how many times they have to call a friend or
because the balance of system.
Look up online, you know, or watch another video, or like they don't inherently know what to do. Like I've been trained, I really don't need to be trained on many systems. It's like, okay, it's a new brand, maybe the commissioning process is a little bit different, but I know the code, I know what equipment we're going to be using to do it all properly. So it's like, I know wire sizes, I know ampacity ratings, I know the things that I need to know to be successful to install the system.
Right.
But like, and I can picture what we're gonna do, so I can go and prep all the things. Like I can pull it off the shelf, I can go to the distributor, I can get the wire that I need, I can get a gutter, I can get all the fittings. I'm not running out. I have trucks that are stocked. I don't have to go out to Home Depot 10 times to piecemeal it together.
And when someone like all the little things that you just mentioned, like I almost never hear from the DIYer asking, you know, and they'll be asking a much more like elementary question. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, you don't even know what you don't even know. Like like you think that like you're gonna figure out this little thing and then the whole thing's figured out, but there's like 100 other challenges that you haven't even got to yet.
Right.
And like all of the little like wire size, fittings, like all of those little things, I feel like are kind of forgotten until you actually approach that.
But then like the time it takes to educate yourself in order to do it yourself, like you said, opportunity cost. It's just more and more time that you're spending, where like I could have been done with the install and you could have been operational for a whole month, saving you money or doing what the project's supposed to do, whereas you're still just messing around trying to get it installed yourself.
So let's, I kind of asked a little bit, I think we kind of got off topic, but like what are some of these costs that maybe, you know, I know we talked about maybe like insurance or workmanship, you know, liability insurance and all that's being expensive, but like what are maybe some other costs, whether that be tools or just, I don't know, anything, balance of system, like like anything that is just not as thought about in terms of these
I mean, for a battery system, for sure, I think balance of system is a huge thing. I mean, I'm probably on a full home backup. I mean, especially, I mean, if it's directly next to or behind the service panel where there's not much difficulty in terms of like, speaking from my knowledge base, like to transfer the circuits or do that wiring. But if we're moving it even 10 feet, I mean, we're doing a whole lot of work. I mean, we're adding conduits, we're splicing wires, we're doing whatever we need, boxes. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars. It's not just, a couple $100 here or there, like thousands of dollars. Like most of my projects, even for a simple whole home backup, we're looking at like $3,000 for balance of system just for like that part of
hard
the
cost.
project. Yeah. So I mean, it's not just I need one fitting or, you know.
Are these collars gonna maybe fix a lot of that?
Yeah, the collars it's great. It's, you know, it's revolutionary. I mean, if you want whole home backup, I mean, it cuts out so much of that. It cuts out the labor, it cuts out the material costs for that backup system, or just running something over to the meter and boom, you're done. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a game changer. I think it's great for us. It's great for the industry. It's gonna bring costs down, you know, to where people don't even have to worry about this DIY stuff. Just get the brand that you really want.
Well, that's what I'm starting to
get
think.
the equipment, get the Tesla, get the Enphase, get the Franklin, get something that's
right.
an awesome product, not some product that's just floating out there online. Mm-hmm. Get the thing that works, that's got the reputation, and you know, you're going to cut all this cost with the meter collar. I think
we're getting to that point where it's almost like you can't even really save all that much money doing it yourself. If you have, like, if you
factor in all the opportunity costs that you know you're talking about, I don't think you're really.
I mean, especially now if you have the meter collar in, you know, I don't know, maybe you're going for the Tesla Powerwall 3. Yeah. Price point's crazy.
Yeah, it's great. I think that's...
You can't even... Another thing, too, that a lot of people don't know is if you're not a certified installer, you can't even commission a lot of these batteries, which is why maybe if you are a DIYer, you are kind of forced to go to some of these products where maybe you don't need to... There isn't a certification, or you don't need...
I even have to have the rest of my staff certified, because if I were the only one certified, then I have to go physically on site to most all of these battery systems to commission them myself. I need all of the staff to be certified. I mean, it's best practice anyways,
right? Because
we're all going to be installing. I'm not doing this all by myself, right? So, but if I send somebody out that's not certified, and then they're on tech support, they're going to ask, "Are you certified to do this?" And then they say no, and then click. Like, they're not helping you,
right?
So, get the certified installer out there.
Right.
So it's there's a process to it. Like, the big companies know that they want all of this to be done right. They want everyone to be certified. They want it to work. They want the customer to have a good experience. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's so important to realize that this is not just, let's save a few bucks right now. These systems are going to pay for themselves. So if you think that doing it through a professional company and getting a little bit more expensive product is the issue, like, you're really just adding a little bit of payoff time.
That's what I tell people too. Right? I'm like, hey, look, like, you can, like, this is going to save you money regardless. Yeah. So this is just a matter of, like, do you want to see your payback in, like, do you want to go cheap and see it in like 6.5 years, or do you want to, like, do this right and see it in like 7.5 years?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like you're winning either way.
Yeah.
Do you just want all the potential headaches and unknown and the lack of certainty? And
it's like, do you feel comfortable installing this product that maybe will be there in the expected payoff time, right? So if you're a DIYer and you're installing this product that, okay, you've saved this cost and now your system's going to be paid off in 6.5 years instead of 7.5 years. But before that 6.5 years, your inverter fails. Battery cell goes down, whatever happens.
Right.
And is that company there to support you? Because all of a sudden, if it's not,
they could just start nickel and diming you every few years.
You're either getting nickel and dimed, or you're gonna have to, like, full system replacement, or major component replacement. You add that on, and then all of a sudden your DIY project then went more expensive than if you just went with a professional company.
Yeah, I always tell people, like,
it's ridiculous.
Like, I always tell people, like, yeah, you don't want to overpay and get ripped off.
Of
obviously,
course not. No,
but, like,
and we're not out here trying to rip people off.
Yeah.
But we are a business. We do have value in what we're presenting.
Right.
And we want to be fairly compensated for that. We're, like, that I'm in no way wanting to rip anybody off. Like, you don't want to.
No, you have actually, out of all the contractors I have, you're actually one of the only ones that has, like, a price ceiling where you're like, hey, like, this is no more than that. Like,
we're not cutting people's heads off.
Yeah.
Like, we just want to be fairly compensated for what we're doing, and, like, we do have the expertise, and we just want to be fairly compensated. That's all.
Right.
Yeah. But these DIYers, I think that they're maybe just, like, they've got blinders on and they're looking at the price online, and that's it.
Well, yeah.
They need to just, like, expand the horizon a little bit, look at some other variables within this equation, and if you want this system to last 25 plus years, like look at all of the costs involved with that.
Right.
Like, is your system going to last going through a product that may not be there? That's a huge question. And so if you're buying this kit, right, for $6,000, and we're, say that same equipment through us is twice as much. Well, if your system goes down, all of a sudden you have to replace it with another $6,000 or maybe more. Like, you're there already. Like, it just doesn't pencil out. Just be smart about it.
It may look good on paper. You may go to the thing and see, oh, it has a 10-year warranty.
Yeah.
But if they are not around, or they don't answer the phone, or they say, oh, that's not a claim that, or that's not something the warranty covers, you got nothing.
Yeah, and that's all you got too, is that all you have as a DIYer is a phone call to all these online entities, right?
Right.
Like, you could literally have personal relationships.
Like, you could like a customer could literally walk into CED,
right,
and talk to a bunch of real humans at a real warehouse where they can go see thousands of panels and batteries and inverters literally in a warehouse, and walk away with something that same day if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Like a store, like a normal brick and mortar store.
I know, crazy.
Crazy concept.
Yeah. Sometimes it is still required these days, but
there's value with a brick and mortar, setup.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, is there any other thing that, like, as a DIYer, or as a contractor speaking to someone who is interested in doing this and is tempted to try to do it themselves, save a few bucks, like, is there anything else in your opinion that, they need to know, or we haven't really spoken about, or like?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just getting over this mental block that they have. I think it's a cost hurdle that they're trying to overcome, and like, I get it, like, you're gonna save money, but this is like solar batteries. It's one of the only investments you can make, like remodeling your house, right? Doing projects that actually gives you a return,
right?
An actual monetary return.
People will drop like $6,000 more to get like the higher trim car, to get like a few more features that they're going to use for like 2 years.
But a car depreciates
or 3 years
right after you roll off a lot.
But to not say I'm going to spend a little bit more.
Yeah,
for solar.
Like, if you buy a new roof, that's just a new roof that obviously protects your home.
You needed it.
But like, you're not going to eventually see that money back necessarily, right? I guess if you were to sell your home, like you can justify,
but it's more property values. It's not your roof.
But like, for solar, like, we're building something for 25 years, and 4, 5, 6, 7 years into it, you're already churning money out of that investment. There's nothing else like it.
Right. I often hear people say it doesn't make sense to invest in solar because I can just put that $50,000 in the stock market and I can get 6% or 7% or 8% year over year. And then I always remind people,
the internal rate of return on solar is way higher.
Right. So like, I always remind people, hey, like, internal rate of return, let's say this thing pays for itself in 5 years. Well, that's a 20% internal rate of return. Even if it's 10 years, that's a 10%.
Right.
Are you going to get a guaranteed 10% anywhere else? Like, I just had, like, literally 3 days ago, I just had someone talking to me. He was an elderly retired gentleman, and he was talking about, basically, not wanting to put down a bunch of cash for his system because, it was working in the market, and he was, it was in bonds or whatever, and he was getting like 5 or 6%. And I said, well, hey, how long is it going to take for you to double your money in that bond? Is it going to be about 18 years or so? And he did the internal quick processing, and he goes, yeah, that's about right. And I go, well, with your solar investment, every like 7 years, you're doubling your money. And it took him a second, but after he realized that, he was like, oh, yeah, there's no reason to like go get a loan for that extra $25,000. Like, that is a way better use of my money. It's
a super safe investment at this point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like,
again, it's those mental hurdles you have to get somebody over to really understand the true benefits of solar, whether it's just on paper, looking at the math, and I mean, internal rate of return, like where are you going to get that? It's guaranteed. And it may even be higher because utility rates keep going up.
All the payback periods have been higher than what we've ever told people they were in the past.
Yeah. I mean, when it was, before NEM 3, I mean, most of our returns were around 4 years, right? Where are you going to get that return? 25%?
How are you going to double your money in 4 years?
You can't, unless you're getting lucky and there's just a great run in the stock market, but again, that's risky. It's guaranteed,
yeah.
Right? I mean, and then you're in the black for the next 20 plus years. You're just getting free electricity. One more thing that I thought of is the actual interconnection agreement with the utility.
All the paperwork?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit complicated, and we do it all the time. And we still, we run into certain situations, whatever it is, we're having to communicate back and forth with the utility and get these projects interconnected. We're getting them inspected with the city, we're getting it permitted, we're having that interconnection paperwork filed. And if you're DIYing it, you got to do all that yourself. Unless you're able to find a service that does that, doubtful.
But now you're eating into your savings costs.
Right. And are you willing to do that complicated process for one project?
For me,
is it worth it?
For me, if I had to fill out 30 pages of documentation or whatever,
yeah,
and I didn't know anything about it, I would just crumble. I would just look at it and so I'm just not going to do this. Yeah. It would just stress me out so much personally. I think a lot of people don't realize how much paperwork really goes into actually getting a system installed on the back end. These companies have offices with people that are just submitting paperwork. You never even see them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then there's other things that we talked about the meter collar. There's a process with the utility for that. Same with the RMA device. There's a process that we have to communicate with the utility. If you're getting a panel upgrade, we have to communicate with the utility. And as a DIYer, are they familiar with any of those processes? Are they able to do any of that?
Well, and the utility, and especially I know the inspectors.
Yeah.
They're busy. They have 20 to 30 houses in a day they're trying to get to when they're checking stuff out. And if you're some homeowner that doesn't know how to talk the talk, and they're gonna think they're wasting their time with you. And I know that a lot of the city officials, they don't really give the same kind of respect to the homeowner as they would the contractor, because they know the contractor is going to
built a rapport with them,
right?
But we also know what we're speaking about, and we have a dedicated inspection person, so they're out on site to meet the inspector on time. We have all the boxes open. They know what the inspector wants to see. If an inspector shows up and you're here's my system with cords running everywhere, and a system that even the inspector has never seen before.
Yeah, I mean, are you gonna?
You can't speak to it.
Yeah, the inspector's gonna go, "Where's your water bonding?"
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Where's your UFER?
What? Huh?
I don't know.
What is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're thinking about DIYing it and you weren't already 3 steps ahead of us, knowing, they're gonna ask for my water bonding or how it was grounded or all that stuff.
Sure.
Okay, if you haven't even realized that that's something they're gonna check,
show me your single line diagram. What's that? Or explain to me, walk me through the system and show me on the single line and show me the equipment. And if you can't do that,
they're gonna walk away and your system's not being turned on.
Yeah, because they're the gatekeeper too.
Right.
You have to get it approved by whatever AHJ, because they're gonna send a notice to the utility that we've passed inspection. And then review our application and actually give that permission to operate. So I think it's another hurdle for somebody doing it themselves, whereas we have that built into what we're already doing. We have the expertise, we have the personnel to do that. So I don't know, just another thing.
Another little piece of advice that I have is that I see this all the time is someone will go ahead and purchase all the equipment and then they'll be calling around trying to get it installed, and no one wants to do it. No contractors wants to show up and install this kit, basically. And then they're stuck because they've already purchased everything and they can't just return it. You know, it's so. I would advise figure out the contractor first and then use that contractor to source the equipment, instead of saying I'm going to buy everything and then find a contractor, and you're risking contractor to even come out and do it.
I mean, if somebody called me and they were like, I want you to install this off-brand thing, I bought this kit online, I would either say no, or I'm pretty much going to charge them double, because it's such a headache and a hassle to have to do that.
And you may like have some clause saying like that you're not connected to like the system's performance, or you know, you're not like, you're especially not guaranteeing anything.
Not guaranteeing anything. My warranties probably aren't going to be the same as if we were, you know, selling it per normal. So it's just not, it's not something to take lightly.
It's too risky as a business.
I'm not just like I'm not like a blow and go contractor. Like
we're not handymen.
We're not handymen. Like I'm selling something that's going to perform, and I want to be your contractor moving forward for the next 25 years. You know, I will provide that support. Although we don't have like built-in O&M agreements, like I'm still here for support. And like if you need additional panels, if you need EV charging, if you want a bigger battery system, like there's things that like we can help you with. Whereas with this, like it's, I don't know, it's like I don't want to touch it. It's not something I want to put my name on it. It's not something you want to put your name on. So it's just kind of.
I don't want a bunch of calls from like, I feel like part of my success personally in the industry has like it's been keeping my reputation very good.
I think that's anyone like us too. Like we don't get callbacks saying, you know, when it rains, I don't get calls. Like that's the best feeling, because we're doing a good job.
I think I've had like 2 people in like 5 years that like called in for saying that they had like a couple little drops as like a leak, and then
and I don't even know if those are our jobs or not. Like who knows what state that's in, but like it's like but like that's just one part of it. Like I have customers that, if anything, they call because they have a battery backup system and they're like, this was awesome. Like it worked just how it was supposed to. We installed one out east, and right after we installed it, their power pole blew down. Like they're in Descanso, and the power pole blew down, and it took SDG&E like a couple months to get out there. But he had a full home backup system. He had generators already on site too, but like his system was able to provide power for him seamlessly.
That's awesome.
Like, and he was super happy. Like great investment for him. But if he had, for example, if he had done it himself, just with the timing, right? Say he was doing it himself, he'd still be working on it. And his power pole blows over and he's like, crap, I didn't get it done in time. And you know, what are you gonna do then? So it's just, you know, like maybe that would happen, maybe not, but just get it done the right way, and don't take that risk.
There's always so much more that you don't realize you don't know until you like get in it yourself and really look. So
for sure.
So anyways, with that all being said, unless you're a licensed electrician, don't do this yourself. And even then, you may still need some help. I hope this video shined a little light on maybe some topics you weren't thinking about. I'm not trying to just get everyone to abandon the idea of doing it themselves, but I am trying to wake a lot of people up and pretty much kind of bluntly say like, hey, unless you're literally already a licensed electrician that has at least a little bit of experience with this, this is going to end up being way more complex and difficult and time consuming than you think. It's universally underrated in terms of the difficulty. Like there's a lot of stuff online that makes it look like it's very simple, and I promise you it's less simple than you think.
It's just I think just evaluate the other variables that we laid out. Like don't just look at the cost. Like that's an easy way to get sucked in and have those blinders, but like look at all the other the opportunity costs. Like just look at everything as a whole, and then make your decision whether you want to still move forward with DIY, or you want somebody like us to do the installation and know that it's going to perform. I guarantee there's people that just refuse to accept anything that we've said.
Is there any difference with how you take like the tax credit? Like if there's no contract,
As
like
an owner?
if you're just like buying equipment from like a distributor, and then you're like if you do find a contractor to like just do the labor and you're just paying them, like is there a way to even get the tax credit for everything? Or
Yeah, I would say that the tax credit's a little bit different. I mean, you know, say we sold a battery and solar project for 50 grand, like that's your contract, that's your receipt. So you're getting 30% off of that. But if you're buying it online and doing it yourself, like you're not getting that full tax credit. So like, you know, you buy a kit for 6 grand, like that's all you have to really work off of. So you're getting 30% off of that. But if you're doing it yourself, like that's just your time, and like that's all free, right?
Yeah, so I tell people too, like take the tax credit into account. Like assuming you can get it, like okay, well now your net cost versus really what the DIY cost is, like maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I didn't really think about.
Cool.
Yeah, unless I don't know, maybe you can cut this out, but like what if somebody were to like write up their own invoice for their own labor or something? I don't know. Like,
well, they'd have to the money would have to actually, like they'd have to have their own business.
Right, you have to have like money transact, right?
The money would have to be, there'd have to be a transaction associated with it if you're going to claim it.
Yeah, you can't just like ghost charge yourself.
No, that's tax fraud.
And like, all right, I'm moving money from this account to this account. No, I paid myself for my battery installation. I don't think it works that way.
No.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, yeah.
So, well, like I said, I hope this video shines some light on some topics that you maybe weren't thinking about. If you found it helpful, and even though we're filming this in San Diego, and this is my San Diego contractor, I do work in 30 states. So if you're interested in getting a quote, the map I'm going to pop up on the screen right now is our coverage zone. Give me a call, 760-473-5878, or you can email me. In the description below has all my information. And yeah, I'm looking forward to help you out.
But especially if you're in San Diego, contact Julian.
Yeah,
we would love to do your project.
Absolutely, and in Southern California in general. I mean, we'll work LA, Orange County as well.
Yeah, we'll do all that. Again, Chase with Alltech Solar. We would love to do more projects and help more people out.
Cool. Thanks, Chase.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. I think it's gonna be a good video. It'll get some people's attention.